Great ball game. I felt like, we started Lang thinking that we might be able to get a couple innings out of her, and unfortunately she was gassed. But Caitlin came in and I thought did a good enough job to keep us in the game. And, at the end of the day we came up a little short. But for Shocker softball, an excellent season and a tough loss. But, something that we're going to continue to keep improving on, and hopefully we can get back here next year.
Questions for the student athletes? Raise your hand. Patrick will get the mic to you.
That's Bob.
This is for Asia, so I know say your name now. What was the pitch you hit on the double off half? And she'd been so dominant this weekend. Were you thinking, well, maybe we can get to her? And you guys did get to her a little bit, but she seemed to get stronger as the game went on. Just what did you think of her, and what was the hit on the double?
Well, the pitch was an outside pitch, and they've been throwing me that all day, so I was kind of ready for it. And I felt like she did a really good job adjusting to where our hitters were standing, because I know a lot of hitters are talking about where she was pitching. And so we were trying to make adjustments, but she also did a good job of adjusting herself to each batter, so I felt like she did well.
Gene?
I know it's really so fresh for both of you, but can you kind of put this season in perspective for you guys, what this team has meant to you?
You want me to go? You can go. Well, this season, I felt like our team did an awesome job of wait, I'm stuck. Come back to me. Sorry.
This team to me is everything that I could dream of. You grow up and you dream of this atmosphere and everything that happens, and to have those 8 ladies behind you on the field, it's really something special. And the chemistry that I think that we've all created this year is something that I think that looking forward in the future years that we need to strive to create, because our seniors did an excellent job of keeping us all together, especially on the field.
Yes, I thought they were really good leaders on and off the field, actually.
Did you kind of feel it fell on your shoulders once Bailey was out of the game? And also, I guess, what kind of pitch did McQueen hit from the home run?
So the pitch that she hit was a drop ball, but I've been preparing all season for this environment, and I was out in the bullpen almost every game this whole time. So just being ready to go in and stepping up, that's all you can do in this situation. And I give props to Bailey Lang. She threw her butt off for 4 games, really, and I give everything to her. She's been an awesome pitcher for this staff, and for me to come in and have the opportunity is awesome.
Any more questions for the student athletes?
Asa, after the 5th inning when y'all loaded the bases and couldn't score, did that kind of take the air out of the tires for the last 2 innings? It was pretty tough to come back from that.
At first, yeah, it did, but also we tried to really focus on making our own momentum. And so after that, we huddled up and we really talked about just each base hit one at a time, and then we could do it after that.
Yeah, and it looked to me from upstairs. Obviously, you're down her face. It looked like half kind of got like she could smell the finish line. What was it like? What did you see from her the last couple innings?
What I saw was that you could tell that she was trying to bring it in there. She was trying to she adjusted to us again. Like she did a good job of moving her pitches, and she threw something different to me than my last 3 up to bats, so it kind of threw me off too. Oh, she threw me a changeup. Sorry.
Any more questions? Thanks, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
Questions for Coach Brad Benner?
Half comes in and you guys get the double, you take the lead. Were you thinking, well, maybe she's a little gassed too, or you guys could get to her? I know she hit a couple batters and walked a couple people, but she only gave up another hit after that.
Yeah, I think we felt a little bit more prepared for her today. We actually brought our hack attack in for practice or for BP this morning and tried to simulate a little bit more of an upspin, a little bit more of a rise ball to try to create some timing and some better angles. And when Asia got in there and rips a double over the left fielder's head, I was pretty fired up. And I would agree with the girls. I thought the last couple innings she started turn it on a little bit and kind of find a little bit better zone. She worked ahead and got us to chase some pitches out of the zone. But, even like in Asia's at bat, she came to her with something different, but it was a strike. And so, she got her out on her front foot and got her swinging and got the ground ball that she wanted. She kind of went back to the basics and, she did a great job. I mean, both of those pitchers do a nice job, and I think that we did everything that we could in the moment to try to make some adjustments, and they just weren't the right adjustments.
Coach, the home run ball was kind of the difference the last 2 days against Arkansas. Did you think McEwen was due for a big hit?
She's a good ball player. That was a great hit. I didn't think that was that bad of a pitch. I mean, it was really down and outside. And, when you know that you're facing a drop ball pitcher, the one thing you definitely want to do is let it get deep in the zone and try to drive it opposite field. And it's picture perfect for her right there of exactly what you want to do with that type of a pitch. But, we had some opportunities that we could have capitalized on too, and we couldn't get that type of a hit. So, credit her for stepping up and barreling something out of the ballpark.
Coach, I know it's fresh, but what has this season meant to this program?
I definitely think it's been one to hopefully remember for a long time. And, this group was very new. I mean, we graduated 9 players last year and, brought in 6 freshmen and a transfer that obviously made a big difference within our program. But I think the girls really hit the part that I think made the difference, and it was the team chemistry. We didn't have it last year. We had a very old class that, I think got to that point where they were ready to graduate, and some of our juniors didn't care for that. And those juniors became seniors this year, and they figured out how to lead. They figured out what their goals were and how they were going to achieve those. And one of those things was getting the entire team, all 19 players, to play hard every single day and give it everything that they have, because the one thing that the seniors reminded the girls of is that 4 years goes by super fast. And for Paige, she's been here for 5, and I think she could draw it out as long as she'd want. But, those years go by fast, and you don't want to look back after those years and think that you didn't do everything that you could to be successful. And that's the one thing I'll take from these seniors is that they left it all on the field. They played hard. They had their best seasons, probably their senior years, and really did a great job of leading this team. So a lot to look forward to coming back, but some pretty big holes from a leadership perspective and talent perspective, with that senior class.
I've got one for you. Losing arguably 2 of the best softball players you probably had in the program history. Do you want to talk a little bit about those, and then the third senior who's contributed so much in the last 2 years?
Yep. Morgan was a kid. She transferred in from Seminole State. Didn't play a whole lot last year. Played a little bit more of a base running role. Didn't enjoy that role and worked hard. And just a good kid, good teammate, somebody that is going to take her role and do the best that she possibly can with that role. Helps us out in the office tremendously. She was my softball intern this year, so going to miss her in different capacities too. I got to know her in a little bit different level, but just a good work ethic and somebody that I feel like took advantage of the opportunities that she had this year to try to be the best she could be. Paige has been here for 5 years, and she was an instrumental freshman in 2014 when we really turned our program around. We were picked 8th in the Missouri Valley, and we ended up finishing 1st, and Paige was all-conference player, one of the 8 freshmen we brought in that year, and blew her knee out her sophomore year, and somebody like her, it took her a little while to get herself back into it, find that love of the game a little bit. But the one thing that I will give to her is that this year she's done something that, no one wants to ask of anybody. She has a torn ACL, and she's played on it, and she's well aware of it. Everybody's well aware of it. I mean, she's done everything that she possibly can to be great this year, playing on a bum knee, and anything we've asked of her, she's tried. And, a tough kid who I think is leaving here a better person and, definitely a better softball player, but just to me gave us everything that she had. Kenzie's tough to talk about because I think she'll go down in history as probably the best defensive player that's ever played at Wichita State. I mean, I'd like for somebody to show me a third baseman that makes the plays that she does. Yesterday when we were playing Oklahoma State, it was pretty cool to watch Vanessa Shippey and her play the same position. And they bring a little bit different element as far as what they're best at. Shippey's obviously a fantastic hitter, gets on base a ton. I think Kenzie's a great hitter, but I think Kenzie's a phenomenal defensive player. Somebody that anytime the ball was hit her way, you just knew she was going to make the play. She made SportsCenter top 10 plays. She made one yesterday in the game, and those type of athletes are few and far between. She's a gamer. I mean, her and I have had our battles in the office about different things, but she's grown up so much in this program. From her freshman year to now, she's just turned into an outstanding woman and, somebody that's just going to be very difficult to replace, but you kind of got to move on. We've had those, all of us have had those in our programs, and hopefully if you've done a good job, you've had them. But it's a special senior class, just a group of girls that gave everything. They led this year in a tremendous way, and that's the difference maker. That's why we're here, is their leadership.
And I'm sure Arkansas looked a lot different this weekend than they did back in early March. Playing them back to back, what do you think of their team? How good are they playing? And I don't know if they're probably gonna have to go over to Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they got what kind of shot do they have in a super regional? Do you think?
Hey, everybody's got a shot. Like I said, they've got some elements, and when you've got two pitchers that can compete, and you've got some kids that have some confidence. I mean, we went into OU, had some confidence, and put 6 runs on them. They've got some vulnerabilities, and to me, I don't know how Coach Deifel will attack this, but they're the true underdog to me going in this weekend when you have to go to Norman potentially and play the 2-time defending champions. You have nothing to lose, and that's the element that's scary. I think they're a good ball team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They've got some speed. They've got depth in the right areas, and I think they're a program that's going to continue to keep getting better in the future. I mean, when you look at just a 2-year turnover with the coaching staff, the changes that they've made, they're obviously heading in the right direction, and they're going to compete. They'll do okay against OU, and you just got to go out there and play hard at this point, and anybody can take it to them.
I know OU's obviously the favorite.
They'll match up okay. I'll be honest with you, to me, and it'll be interesting to see. I've always felt like OU struggles a little bit more with the drop ball than they do the rise ball. So I'll be interested to see how Mary does on the big stage versus how Autumn Storms could potentially do if she could get them chasing a little bit in the dirt. If you've kind of traditionally watched OU, they struggle a little bit with that off-speed down type style. So it'll be a great matchup. I think the key for Arkansas is to play loose and to really go out there and take it to them, and we'll see what kind of difference it is having a very senior and junior heavy team in OU and a very young team with Arkansas.
Coach, when you look at what Coach Deifel has done with the program here at Arkansas, I mean, they won 2 games just a few seasons ago. Now they're going to a super regional. What are your just general thoughts on that?
Oh, I just think it's to turn around an SEC program as quickly as she did, and she did it in the right ways. Pitching's the number one thing. You've got to have pitching, and you look at, Mary Half has done such a great job, and that's the number one thing. I mean, she's doing something right, and I don't know their program well enough to know who recruited who. If that was somebody that she had brought in, or in the game of softball until this year, you could recruit 6th graders. So people had been committed for a long time in our sport. So I'm not sure which coaching staff recruited who, but as far as development and the changeover, there's definite differences. We hadn't played Arkansas until this year, so it's hard for me to really give a true comparison on the field, but just watching them and seeing their numbers on paper, they've got a lot to be proud of, and you're definitely seeing some pretty big differences in all aspects of the game. I would say one of the areas, and I could be wrong, is probably fan support. You know, I don't know how many fans used to come to the games, 3 or 4 years ago, but there's a great crowd there today, and they definitely were rooting for the home team.